Whenever you're ready to build a web app that has a backend functionality and you want to make use of that of the DeepSeek AI from China, it's actually very, very simple to do that. You just read a few lines of a prompt and then you can get that generated. And I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. And we can actually hook up with any language that we want. It could be something like Python, PHP, and just maybe Rust, just whatever language you want to use. But you know that you must have to know something about the language that you want to use, because there are quite a few things that you need to like put in place, okay, to be able to effectively use whatever code is actually going to generate for you. So maybe in this one we are going to use something like Python or something like PHP that I don't know yet, but we'll see to that as we move along. And then I do have a video where I've actually done something about the UI, just building a UI of a website with that of the DeepSeek. So if you want to watch that, I'm going to link to that video in the description box. So if you're on YouTube, you should be able to search for that on the description box and then go watch that video first. And if you don't want to watch that before proceeding with this one, it's still completely fine. You can actually go through this effectively without watching the first one, because we're going to actually do almost everything that we did in that one in this particular one that we're actually going to build right now. So it could be something like a blog where we should be able like allow a user to actually submit a blog post within our website, and then it gets published on the front page of our website. And let's see how we can actually do that right now without wasting more time. And feel free to ask your questions. If you have any questions, you can go to the comment section and then drop your questions. We're going to respond to that. So let's dive right in and then see how we can use DeepSeek AI to build a website that has backend functionality right now.
Alright guys, so if you go to charts.deepseek.com, you're going to be greeted with this type of interface, which I'm quite sure you're already familiar with. But then this is the prompt that I want to send to DeepSeek right now to be able to generate a blog app for me. And I say provide me with the code for a blog app where the owner can add posts and they will be displayed on the front end for viewers to read. Ensure the UI is intuitive. I want to send that right now, see what that is actually going to give me. Okay, so that is getting generated, and it's getting generated, and I think it's actually using something like Flask, and that's just basically coming from something like Python. And we're going to just instruct it to use a different library or a different language if you want to. Okay, but I can actually say that this is actually making use of that of the Flask. So if you take a look here, you see where it says something like below is a simple implementation of a blog app using Flask, which is a Python web framework for the backend, and HTML and CSS for the front end. This application or this app allows the owner to add posts which are displayed on the front end for viewers to read. And that is just as if you want to install Flask. If you know how to use Flask before now, you can go ahead and then do this pip install Flask. It's going to install the Flask, and then you can go ahead and then create the app right here. So if you create a file called the app.py, you can put this code in there. And basically what I'm going to do is that I want us to make use of a PHP in this. So this is the HTML part of it. Maybe this is just going to be basically for the backend for now, but we're going to use PHP. So if you want to use something like that of the Python Flask or something like the Django, you can go ahead and do that. But what I want to do is I want it to switch to PHP. So let's say use PHP. Okay, so it's actually trying to do the backend with that of the PHP, and that's just that, guys. Alright, so and this is why I kind of told you guys to make use of a language, instructed to use the language that you will actually know how to make use of. It could be something like Python, something like Django in Python or Flask, or something like Node.js. So whatever language you are, either a language or a tool that you're actually familiar with, okay, because it's actually going to be giving you the code, but then it may not actually provide all of the instruction for where you want to put all of these things, okay, even though sometimes it may actually do that. So it says below is a simple implementation of a blog app using PHP for the backend and HTML and CSS for the front end. The app allows you to add, so basically the same thing that we've actually seen before now, okay. So now if you take a look at here where we have the setup right here, you see that you just basically need to have a local server. So it could be something like XAMPP or WAMP or MAMP. So any of these things that we do actually have right here, you want to make sure that you have that. And I think I have XAMPP already on my system. So what I want to do right now is to launch this, and then we can start implementing whatever that I've actually got here so far. So to do that, I want to open up a new tab right here, and I think I do not actually have my XAMPP turned on, so I want to turn that on right now. So this is going to be XAMPP, turn that on, and I'm going to put this on and also start the MySQL right here. Alright, so the two of them are actually loaded right now, so we can actually go to localhost/phpMyAdmin, and we want to open that up. Alright, so we do have that already opened right here, and what we basically want to do is, if we take a look at what it has generated so far. I want to find out whether it has something like a blog, what is it called, if it has something like a database name. And if you take a look at the code, if you take a look in here, you see that we can actually use this line to generate something like a database for us, which is actually called the blog_database right here. So how do you do that? You can actually go back to your development environment, your XAMPP that you just opened up right here, and you can go to the SQL section. So if I hit on SQL right here, and I can go ahead and paste that in here, and make sure that you do not actually have this name already in existence. So I don't think I have that, so I can hit on go right here, and I'm going to notice that it's going to basically create that. So look at it right here. So you now have a database that is actually called the blog_db. So if you go back in here, the next thing you need to do is to go ahead and create your table right here. Okay, so you can make use of this. If I copy this right here, we can go back in here, make sure we go to make sure that the blog_db is actually selected, and you can go to the SQL section in here and then paste that code right there. So if you go ahead and then hit on go, remember what this is actually going to do is that it's going to create a table that has an ID, and then it has a title, the content, and then the date that the post has been made. So let's go ahead and hit on where it says go right here, and that has been created. So if you take a look in here, we'll now have a table called a post. So if you open that up and then go to structure, you notice that we do have the ID, and then we'll have a title, content, and then the created at stamp right there, which is just basically a timestamp right here. So we'll have that in place right here. So that means we'll have a table right here where we can actually go ahead and then put what is it called, we can put our post in there. So the next step right here is to place the PHP files in a HT docs. Okay, so we need to go ahead and then locate this particular location in our XAMPP and then put our files inside of this particular place. So to do that, it's really going to be very simple. How do we do that? We can go to, let's open up our file explorer, and then if we go to our PHP, which is basically heading to our what is it called, our disk right here. So I want to repeat that. If you hit on your this PC right here, you want to go to your local drive, you want to open that up, and then you want to go to where it says XAMPP, which is a folder, and this is the HD docs folder that you just mentioned from this particular instruction right here. So we want to open that up. So if I open this up right here, and I want to go ahead and then create whatever folder that I want to use. Okay, so let's say for instance this is going to be blog app, and I want to create, let's create a new folder right here, and let's call that blog app, and I open that up, and we do have that right here. So what I want to do is to open this blog app in my Visual Studio Code. So to do that, I'm going to just do this, and then it's going to basically open up in my Visual Studio Code. And if you take a look at here, we do not actually have any files inside of it, just a folder. And let's go back to DeepSeek right here. All right, so we do have that right now. So the next thing I want to do is to make sure that I'm able to create this file called a db.php, which is just basically going to harbor my database connection right here. Okay, so that's just basically what that is going to be. And to do that, I want to put that in a folder. So if we go back in here, I would like to put that in the folder that I'm going to just basically call config. So let's just call that config, and then within this config folder right here, I'm going to create that particular file, which is actually db.php, and open that up. So we do have that right here. So what I can do is to go back to DeepSeek, and I want to copy the code that we got right here, everything that we got in here, and if we go back to the new file that I just created called the db.php, and I want to paste that right here, and this is just basically what that is. So we do have a host set to localhost, and the db name, which is the name we already created, you already saw this, and then the username for our database, my own is actually root, and then the password is actually empty right there. So if you are actually going to put this online, you need to change this credentials before you put that online, all right, if you want that to really work. Okay, so we do have our database connection right here. If you have any errors, it will die down and say connection failed. So that's just basically what that is. Let's save the changes right here, and I can go ahead and then close that, and that is that. All right, so moving forward, if you scroll down a little bit after the what is it called, the db.php will have another file right here. If you take a look at that, they will have a add post. This is just basically the file that is going to allow you to be able to put the content inside of that particular database that we just created. Okay, so I'm talking about this particular database right here. If you want to see something in this place, you want to be able to save your post inside of this place, you just basically need to do this thing right here, and it's going to basically need a form. However, what I want to do first of all is I want to save this, I want to copy this as a file name, which is actually called the add post right there. And what I want to do is that I want to go ahead and then I want to create a new folder in here, and I'm going to just call this let's say admin. This is just basically going to be in form of an admin, right? So let's say that you are the admin and you want to be able to be posted or make some posts. You want to make sure you get into this particular folder. I'm putting it in this folder because we could actually, if we are going to use this for as a real life project, we need to log this particular folder at a later time. So I have that in there, and I want to create this particular file inside of it, which is actually called the add post. So we have that right there. So we have this, and I think we even actually there's a mistake in here. What I'm going to do, I want to delete this. I don't want to have this inside of that particular folder called config. I think I mistakenly saved that into that folder. So I want to take this away, and I want to select this folder first of all. Alright, so I guess this is the right way to do this. Let's have that one selected and then hit in here, and I think it's better right now. So this is going to be admin. Open that up. I want to select admin right now and then create a file inside of the admin, which is actually going to be to add post right there. So we do have that open right here. So let's copy the code, which is basically here. If I copy this code and then I go back to not really here, go back to the Visual Studio Code. I want to paste this and save that. And do notice that we do have try to connect to the DB right here, but we have made it in such a way that we'll not have the DB inside of a different folder called a config. For that reason, we're going to first of all do config right here. So this is going to be config /db.php right there. Okay, so that's just basically what that is going to be. And then for us to really bring that out, because it's inside of a folder, we need to do a dot. Let's do a /folder right here, and I save the changes. Okay, so we do have that right here. So proceeding, if we take a look in here, and we need to get like the HTML as we move along. So this one is actually going to display the post. So I'm going to just basically jump that one for now, and you know what, I don't think I need to jump that. So I think this is just an index to the admin. I want to copy this and then go back to my development environment, and then I'm actually in the admin section. So I want to hit on here, and I want to go ahead and then say index.php right here, and then open that up. And then we can go ahead and then post that right there. And then we still need to do the same thing again to be able to get to what is it called, the basically the database. Alright, so we have that right there, and the next thing I want to do is if we go back in here and then we scroll a bit down, we see that we'll have another index right here, and this one is actually for the front end. Okay, so we have another. So I'm gonna just basically copy this, hit on the copy, and I just basically want to make sure that that's just for the front end. So if we go back in here, we want to make sure we get out of this particular place right here and make sure that we're basically in the what is it called, the index to that of the blog. So I'm going to hit in here, and I don't need to have this inside of this particular place, guys. So let's hit in here, and then I'm going to just do index.php, open that up, and I want to paste that. So this is just basically the code for the front end, and let's make sure that everything is actually saved. Alright, so we have that there right now. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you're going to see where we have add post right here, which is just basically the form for the admin to be able to add posts. So I'm going to copy this. This one is still going to be in the admin section. So if we go back here, we want to go ahead and then put that in the admin. So I'm going to select admin and then go ahead and I hit on this. And I think the file name is actually called what? So I want to check the browser again, and I think that was actually called so if you scroll to the tab, so it's actually called the add_form. I think we even already I think we got that already right here, add_form, which we can actually go ahead and put that down here, guys. So let's put that down here and save the changes, and that is just that. So what we want to do first of all, let's try to access this. So if we go to a new tab in here, and we'll say localhost, and I want to go to the folder we just created, which is actually called the blog app, and I open that up. And basically, okay, we need to go to the backend first of all. So I'm going to just do admin. If I do admin right here, and I open that up, and we're basically trying to open the admin right here, but I don't think we're trying to open this admin. Okay, nothing is actually in there for now, but what I want to do first of all is to just go to the add post. So we should be able to go to, if I do / and this is going to be add_post.php, and then open that up. You see that we do have a form in here. Now we can basically enter our title right here, enter the form content, and then try to submit. So let's try to do that right now. So purple hat edited. Let's say that that's the post we also basically want to go ahead and put right here. And then we're going to just, this is our test post. And let's go ahead and hit on submit. And I think that it kind of went through, because we check our dashboard right here, I mean our admin right here, and we do have posts right here. So if you open this up, you're going to notice that we do have that inserted into the database. So if you take a look in here, you see that we have something in the database. Look at the title, look at the content. Okay, so what we want to do next is to find a way to make sure that we're able to fetch and then display that, because if we go to the index right now, you see that we do have some errors right here. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are able to display the post on this particular page. All right, so to do that is really very simple. I think what we basically need to do is to just connect to the database, and to do that is really very simple. So let's go back to our development environment. So to really connect to this right now, if we go to let's go to this is the index to our admin, and I want to copy basically I want to copy this everything that we got right here, and then go back in here, and I want to just put that at the top of this page. So I'm going to just do this. I go ahead and paste that. Okay, so we're not going to need to do this because it is actually in the same directory. So we need to take away that double dot / and right here we do have post right here, and if you scroll down, we'll see that we're actually referencing to that post right here, and it's just basically going to print out the title of the post and that of the body of the post right here. So if we save the changes in here, and then we'll go back to this page, and then we'll refresh, we see that we do have our content being pulled out from our database. Okay, so what I don't actually like is right here, it just added a link for us to be able to go to the admin section, which we can also even actually correct, but they are just basically doing that just because they know that we are just building this for a testing purpose. Okay, but what this means is that we do have admin right here. So let's do admin, and you can actually do a /, and what that means is that if you refresh this page right here, and you can hit on add new post, and it takes you to the admin section. So if you take a look up, you'll see that we do have that to be able to take us to the admin section. So we can actually do this is, you can say, second post, and down here this is my second post on my blog app using DeepSeek AI. So this is DeepSeek AI, and we can go ahead and hit on where it says submit right here, and of course it will always redirect us to the index of the what is it called, of the admin, which we can actually do a little thing about that, maybe add something like a success message to that, which is right here. And down here we could just say what I'm going to do, I'm going to just cut this and just do exclamation, and then hit tab, and let's just say success. And then down here, not just down there, but I'm going to just basically put that at the top right here. And you can also still copy maybe this right here. So I'm going to just basically copy from here to this particular place, or let's just copy the container completely, and I put that right here. And I want to take away this, not take away, but just say something like post, or we can just say posted successfully. And then down here, this can kind of list all the posts that we have just actually made. So if we save the changes right here, and I will refresh this admin, you're going to see that it's just basically going to kind of say posted successfully. This is second post, this is our first post. All right, so that's just basically what I want to do, and that's just basically that, guys. So if we go back in here, and you see that we do have this right here, guys. So this is just basically how you can actually build a website that has something like a backend. Okay, so if you want to be able to like interact with your database and using that of the DeepSeek AI, this is just basically how to do it. Okay, so I'm using PHP right here. You can use any other one that you want. So if you want to get rid of this, you can actually get rid of that where it says add new post, because if you're going to, because normally if you're going to be the only one that will be managing this, if you don't want just any random person to be able to make posts to your blog, you don't actually have this right here. But I'm going to just basically leave it to that place, and that's just what that means. Okay, so if you hit in here, it takes you to where you just basically need to add a new post, and after you add that, people can actually go through the front end of your website and then see the post that you make. Okay, so I hope that this is really simple enough for you guys to kind of assimilate. If you you want to turn this into a full-blown blog, you can actually do that. But this is just the bare bones surrounding this type of a thing if you want to build that using a DeepSeek AI. And I think it's really very simple. Okay, so here is the title, this is the body of the post, and this is the date the post was actually made. So we've made two so far. All right, so just before we close, let's make one more post and then put a stop to that. Okay, so let's say this is, let's say, third post, and this is my third blog post, and I'm going to say I am for this, and let's go ahead and hit on submit. Gets posted. All right, so this is the third post so far right here, and if you go to the front page, you're still going to see that getting listed right here. So you can add buttons for read more down here that people can actually hit, and then they can read the full post. All right, so but I leave you to actually do that. That's not just a big work at all. So if you like the post, go ahead and give that a like, and I think I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye for now.